Hello everyone and welcome to LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix round 10. Yes, round 10 out of 16. Already into the double digits. Let's get it. Saudi Arabia, one of a kind. It's a very, very good circuit. It's not a street circuit, but it's kind of a street circuit vibe, of course, because of the really close walls, which makes it so technical, very difficult, as we see PJ stepping it on the rear as they start their lap of the session, and across the line they will go. Now into turn one, we've got the DRS zone, of course, trail braking through, get it nice and rotated, lift off to allow the car to turn through turn 2 up to turn 3, now to turn 4. Spot the braking point as you kind of edge towards the outside line, then turn in, of course. Ride the curbs as much as you can. You can ride them pretty hard around this circuit, only a couple that really will throw you off. Through turns 7 and 8, lovely stuff. 9, 10, 11, 12, over the track limits, just about keeping it together though. Up to turn 13, so low on the traction right here, high speed, got to be really smooth on the throttle. Open up the steering, allow the wheel to straighten up so you can get on the traction easier, and so far so good. Once again, bring it as close to the wall as you possibly can. Once again, on the exit, extending as much as you possibly can to get all that track distance. Now down the second DRS straight, just waiting. Turn 22 right here. Lovely stuff. On the right hand side though, very chunky curves, so you've got to ride it correctly. Now, the final DRS straight, I say that before the start-finish straight really. Now up to turns 27, lots of corners around here, some of them arguable if it is an actual corner. Lovely stuff. Low on the traction again, once again, high-speed corners, but they do it very nicely, very tidily. Across the line, what's it going to be for PJ? It will be a P7, a 29.2. Tidy lap, though. It will look like a very tidy lap from what we saw right there. We have Nifo currently topping the times with a 27.9, so followed by 2/10 behind Luke in P2, looking for another good qualifying time. And look at this guy, he's back. A familiar face in the F1 scene, of course. Sidewinder once again does return, and they will be driving for Red Bull as a permanent driver, so great to see them here. Awesome stuff, and I'm sure we're in for a very good race. Lots of people out on track, so we'll see what we can get done within the next few minutes. I'm wondering, do we go and watch on board with this guy? We do have Luke, of course, on an outlap. He's taken a couple pole positions this season so far, so he's very rapid in the first session of the evening, it seems. Zingy, did he take pole position in Mexico, or was that Luke that took pole? I think Luke took pole position. I'm not quite sure. Whatever he did, he's got a very good chance of getting it. This guy, though, he's going to start another lap to try and defend his current position on the grid, and we will go on watch on board. You can see the championship leader right there in the background, right behind, who's also getting ready to start their lap. They're currently in P3, fairway behind though. Oh, and already Nifo has unfortunately made a mistake. That's going to be a big struggle for them. We're going to jump immediately on board with Zingy as he now has a chance at getting to Nifo. Nifo's got to make sure that they don't let that affect them mentally. They've still got time to set another lap, and they got loads of time, maybe even 2 laps if they really push for it. So they've got time. You know, the new game, you do have to now think about scrub tyres because of the allocation, the tyre allocation, the tyre flexibility. Lots of people now will be using 2 sets of mediums during the race weekend, which does mean, of course, less tyres in qualifying, less soft tyres at least in qualifying. One's now converted to a medium tyre, but you will have to be careful. Understeering off the circuit goes Zingy and invalidating in turn. Now we have Luke, who will now go on board with, as he's going pretty tidy there, very close to the track limits into turn 13. Let's see how this one goes, sending it once again, keeping it not right to the inside, trying to keep up the minimum speed to allow you to build the roads up a bit easier, of course, not losing them so much so you can quickly get back onto it. Nicely done, nicely turned in compared to what we saw with Zingy at the bit of understeer, unfortunately. Now, DRS, of course, activated there, and that will be a big help to catch up to the cars ahead, but it probably won't be a major overtaking spot because, you know, you've got this DRS straight right here riding that inside curb nicely. So once again, DRS right here, this is going to be a great place to overtake, but it will also be a possible place where you line it up into turn 1 with another DRS straight. So all the DRS straights extremely close together. Creates for some very interesting strategies on DRS, of course. Now, Luke goes across the line. What's it going to be? Can it challenge for pole position? It won't. It won't. It's only up by less than a tenth. Quibus is actually beaten them now. So that is a great lap from Quibus. Still, no one challenging Nifojan at the moment. Nifo is just running away with this. He's gone for a second lap, but once again invalidates. So he's going to have to go in and go for one final run, which he will have the chance to do. I assume that he's used one set of tyres. He's using this set of tyres here twice. He's unfortunately pushed the limits a little bit too much, and he's got one more chance. The advantage he has here is he has set his banker, and it is the fastest of the session right now, so he can still push and risk it towards the end. It is very, very possible right now. Sorry for the delay, just having to quickly check a couple things. So I really do apologise for the little minor convenience. They won't be long at all. We should be good to go. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. What up here? What is up here? Sorry for the delay. Nothing's happening right now too major as I can see, so we should be good. Alrighty. Looking all cool for sure. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Alrighty. Sort that out, and then we will get back on with the show, of course. Here we go. So, Nifo into the pit lane. Everybody pretty much into the pit lane that's from this guy, PJ, and of course JJ. Egapro, I believe, was it on his way out? Or no, on his way in. We've got PJ on a lap right now. We can go and have a look at JJ very shortly. Currently, PJ looking to try and push themselves up a little bit further into the top 10. They don't want to be on the edge. Of course, there's no qualifying rule, but they still want to try and get up there. They had some really good runs in the F1.5 race and actually some pretty good pace back in Mexico regardless in both tiers. But in the F1.5 race there and in Alpine, they were pretty quick. So they just need to try and find the mojo in this car. So we'll have to see how that goes for them. Now, round the final corner, what's it going to be for PJ? It says he goes purple in the middle sector. That is a little bug. It would be nice to see if he could go purple in the middle sector. Across the line, then, what's it going to be? And it is going to be a P7, a 28.5 in the end, 6/10 improvement. Very, very close to the back of Ruleton. They just need one more tenth. They could possibly get one, but they are running out of time as everybody right now is just sat in the pit lane waiting for the lights to, not waiting for the lights, they were just waiting for the timer to run down a little bit more. We've got Sidewinder on their way out fairly early, but they will probably get a pretty clean track. So that is the advantage that you will have by going slightly earlier. Everybody else probably going to try and leave it to the 2.5 mark, maybe around about there within the 2 minutes range. We've got Casper Sky on their way out, so it looks good for them so far. And we'll go and watch on board with those guys in a minute. JJ just trying to make their way across the track. I'm not sure if they're going to go again here. I think they might be, although they are a little bit low on the ERS to go for another lap, so they might be just trying to get around the circuit and get to the pit lane. It could be very, very possible. They're going to go to the pit lane. Yes, they are, and they're going to try their best. Or just about managing to keep it out the wall. They're going a little bit too hot into the pit lane, of course. We've got Sidewinder, who is about to start another lap. Let's see what this guy can do. Not got too much experience in the game, of course, with the bugs that he's had. Hardly any time to be able to practice, although from what I saw in the time trial lap times, of course, they actually did set a pretty good lap time. So I say pretty good lap time for somebody that hasn't had this practice. So the more time they spend on the track, the better they will become, I am sure. We know Sidewinder is very, very capable of good results, getting podiums in the last few seasons. Let's see if he can do it today. It could be a very, very possible thing. We'll just have to wait and see. Sidewinder into turn 1, missing actually the first curb, not riding it too hard at all. And on to turn 4. Let's see how they get through it. Once again, nicely done turning through. Lovely stuff. I guess he might be a little bit cautious on the curbs, of course. If you have the less experience in this game, that is one of the most noticeable features from the last game that you will be able to spot with the very chunky curbs and the extreme bottoming out that you can encounter. Now, riding through, lovely stuff. Keeping the minimum speed once again. Let's see if they can improve themselves. If not up the order, just up the times a little bit, because anything that they can put in right now, just to see Sidewinder back up into league racing, is amazing. So it's good to see. Lots of people on circuit right now, lots of people going for laps. We will finish this lap with Sidewinder as once again, purple in the middle sector, up by half a tenth it says. So could they possibly find 2 more tenths to try and get themselves towards Igapro, or is it not going to be enough? Igapro isn't going to get another lap in, so they could potentially push themselves ahead of Igapro, and that would be a P10. JJ might have a go to try and challenge them in a bit. Here we go, Sidewinder around the final corner. What's it going to be across the line? And it is up by 2 tenths, and it does push Igapro down to 28.9. Lovely stuff. Nifo is on a lap here. Who could possibly challenge? That is a yellow at turn 16, 17, but I don't know for which Williams it is. It is for PJ. It is for PJ. Okay, so PJ, I don't know what's happened to them, if they've got an issue or not, but we've got, of course, Luke right here. Who am I trying to go with? Yeah, we're going to stick with Luke. Quibus goes pole position at 27.6 right now. That is brilliant stuff. Could Quibus take their first pole position of the season? We've got Luke on their way to try and challenge for the final time. Nifo also, and Zingy right behind Nifo. Rulaton is actually right behind Luke here, who's going to try and do it as well. Is it going to be possible? Will the second half have a challenge here? Will Cisco also have a possible challenge here? What's it gonna be? We've got Stra coming across the line. Where are they gonna put themselves? And it's going to be into the pit lane. Okay, into the pit lane. Cisco also will not set a lap. Here we go. Luke, across the line. What's it going to be? It's not going to be enough for pole position. Will Nifo be able to challenge? Or is that going to be it? Ziggy! Ziggy retires. He's not going to be able to turn improvement lap. And Nifo will not be able to take pole position. It's Quibus. Quibus on front. Has pole position for the first time in a while. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a legend. Quibus takes pole position at Saudi Arabia. Nifo tried to bring it back right in the end. What an effort to improve there. Luke and Nifo, so small margins. And Zingy spinning it on the final corner. I'm very interested to see what their lap time would have been. That would have been really interesting to see. But that is Quibus taking pole position. How about that? How about that? I can't wait for this race. I cannot wait for this race. The race strategies, the race setups as well, is going to change everything, absolutely everything, because a circuit like this, it's so technical, not only with the driving, but the setups too. Quibus takes pole position, Nifo in P2, and then Luke in P3, the Dutch triple right now, and we scroll through the rest of the grid, race director, just in case we need to later on, and we'll see you in a bit for the race. Ready? Hold. Go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Sidewinder gets a drive-through penalty off the start. I don't believe it. Niffo to the inside, going to lead. Will Queebers be able to snatch it back? No, he has to back off, cuts the corner. And that's Luke taking the P3. Ziggy trying to stay ahead of Runaton. There's a very, very squirmy moment from the Williams, but manages to keep it together behind. Very, very close. Casper Sky managing to filter through that Cisco in P7. I don't believe it from Sidewinder. What a shame for them. PJ trying to make their way up through. There's a yellow flag with the Ferrari, and once again Sidewinder having issues at the start, but that is a crucial maneuver there for Niffo, who's absolutely charging away as much as he possibly can. Got to be careful. Some guys might be trying to start on that medium tire. It's quite possible, but Niffo currently leads the way on the hard tire. Crucial stuff. Gonna try and get it to 1 second if possible before the DRS range. Luke right behind Queebus, really, really close. Ruleton did get ahead of Zingy after that, so Zingy struggling off the line. I don't believe that one, and Casper Sky in P6 going to try and get into the DRS range very, very shortly. Is it going to be possible? Could we see an overtake here? Could we see an overtake early on? Is Zingy going to try and challenge into the final corner early on? But we will see Queebus, but Zingy is going to go for it on Ruleton. So close, there's contact between the two, and here we go. Casper Sky manages to sweep through. I really do hope he doesn't have damage, but wow, what just happened? That was absolutely incredible, and Ruleton has all of a sudden gone from P4 to P7 in a blink of an eye. He's trying to get it back on the Aston, but it's not going to work. It's not going to be good enough, and that's a safety car. A virtual safety car is deployed as somebody seems to have an issue. I don't know who got damage or something there, but that is Sidewinder, Eager Pro, and JJ all having issues. That might have been why we saw the virtual safety car deployed, but Ruleton, that is absolutely terrible news for them. What just happened? That is absolutely incredible. I don't believe it. But what an epic start to the race. Queebus unfortunately not able to hold on to Luke in the end. But Luke's through, and he's going to try his best to get a good restart here on the virtual safety car to see if he can get that DRS to Niffo. Will the DRS now be delayed by a lap? I'm not quite sure. It might actually be here. Very, 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 very close to the safety car ending. When's it going to happen? That is the question, and who will get the best restart? You can gain a lot here if you play it right. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Here we go. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? I think they're going for it. No. Having to slow all of a sudden once again. Not able to get it just yet. It's got to be ending soon. It's got to be ending now, surely. Down into the final corner, and it is going to end. And Luke gets a brilliant restart as Niffo must have been a little bit tentative, but it's not worth the drive-through penalty that you would get if you plan it wrong. Zingy, Ruleton, and Cisco has damage, I think. Cisco, oh, was that contact there with the McLaren in the background? I don't know. No, it was PJ who had damage, but Cisco somehow down the order. Stra having a look behind, but Cisco, after being in P6, is now all the way down to P8. What a shame for them. I don't know what happened, but the top three currently all within DRS range. Zingy on his own at the moment. He has got company behind though with Casper Sky in P5. Ruleton dropping down the order. I really would like to see what happened there with Cisco and Ruleton, because all of a sudden Cisco started dropping down the order. I don't know if he maybe lost the rear of the car on the restart or if there was contact. I guess we won't know! And Niffo down the order as they spin at turn 13. Oh, no, no, no. It's what we dreaded, and it's what's happened. Turn 13 so low on the traction, they're going to have to give it up, and that's P8 after all that. Queebus regains the lead onto lap 3, and Luke lost all of that time due to Niffo spinning, had to react, and Zingy's now in the DRS, and this is Queebus possibly going to be able to get out of the DRS if they can push a little bit more. But what a turn. What a turn that just took. Quibus now leads the way 7 cents behind. And Zingy is right there. So terrible news for Luke. Once again, Zingy back in contention. Back in contention. I knew they didn't really like the circuit, but they found some time earlier on today in their practice sessions, and they felt pretty confident. So all of a sudden they're back in this, and lovely a fastest lap to reassure us there. Zingy could benefit from this absolutely massively. We've got Casper Sky, who's close behind but still needs to be careful of that DRS range, and then Rouleton, who's not really catching at all at the moment. Strine P6. You've got Nifo and Cisco, who've already switched positions. So Nifo trying to make the switch back to pushing towards the cars ahead. Sidewinder getting a time penalty. Unfortunately, we've got PJ, JJ, and EagerPro once again going into the pit lane. Quibus leads the way. DRS will be available very, very shortly. He's currently just trying to manage the car, manage the tires, manage the energy before that DRS phase, because it's going to be absolutely hell for the race leader to deal with. But to be fair, before those pit stops come in, some people might not want to go for the overtake. That's if they don't think they're fast enough to escape the DRS, of course. The DRS is just that powerful around this circuit. I know the ERS is more powerful, but you know what I mean. But now here we go. Luke, who is actually very close to Quibus now, might have a look at a move sooner rather than we thought. It's going to be possible. I don't think they'll go for it into the final corner, but turn one, it will be very, very possible that they might give it a shot. Are they going to challenge for the move? DRS available. ERS is being deployed as they'll get that boost. Going to go to the outside line as Quibus, I don't think, is really going to challenge. They're going to let it go. Maintain that P2 because, you know, if they fight it, they might lose that to Zingy if they're not careful. Casper Sky, who's actually now out of DRS range, they want to try and keep them out of the DRS range if possible, because that just makes it easier for them, as that's Rouleton losing a position to Strauss. So all of that shenanigans that happened with Cisco and Rouleton, possibly, don't know if it actually happened or not, that slowed those guys down a lot and lost them the DRS range where it could have gained them. So I don't quite know what happened. We'll have to look at a replay later on and after the race, but that's not what we want to see. But it is what it is. Quibus now is going to have a bit of a chance here. He will be able to possibly catch to Luke and maybe make a move 6 tenths behind at the moment. He'll get the DRS into the middle sector, which will allow him to catch up and possibly prepare a move into the final sector or onto the DRS straight. We'll have to wait and see. He catches a lot and into turn 22. Very, very close margins there for Luke as he goes off the circuit a little bit. Might have got away with that time penalty rise if he lifted. Not quite sure. Once again, catching a lot here is Quibus. Catching so much now as we get to the later part. Stages up the straight and taps the Williams, forcing them to go deep. And he's not going to be happy with that one. It's a little bit cheeky there for Quibus. I know it's not intentional, but now he's going to be able to get a run and get a move. Zingy might also be able to challenge here. And that's crucial there as he's going to go back to the inside line. He's got the medium tire. He knows what he's got to do. He's going to try and go for the switchback as Quibus goes sideways. He's going to have to lose the position. And Zingy will not be able to capitalize. It's not worth the risk, but Zingy's so close, keeping the pressure on. And Quibus definitely finding the pressure there. They wanted to try and slow down Luke because they know if Luke gets ahead in this section of the circuit for too long, they will be able to pull away. And now Zingy's going to try and challenge. They know that they can get through, but they just can't get through the DRS train at the moment. So I don't know what's going to go on here, but these two on the hard tire at the moment. The medium tire does have the advantage, but right now with the DRS, it's not enough of an advantage. So maybe the medium tire to start with wasn't the right call if everybody's going to be stuck in DRS. Right now, pretty crazy between the top three. So close on the rear. Quibus have a little bit of a scare, so they might have to rethink what's going on here. We've had a bit of a crash between JJ and themselves. We've now got Quibus catching back up to Luke. They might have a second chance here. Don't know if they're going to go for a move. No, they won't go for a move into the final corner. Zingy also is going to try and psych themselves up to see if they can gain anything from this, of course, as well. Might be possible with the top three. We're also going to go and have a look in a minute with the bottom guys as well, or further behind, I should say, the secondary train. Quibus, is he going to try and go for a move on Luke? He won't go for a move on Luke. Zingy's now going to recognise that and might try and push for a move if he knows that Quibus is going to be a little bit more conservative. Kaspersky on their own. We've got Stra leading the second train. This is what I wanted to talk about. Rulaton in P6, but believe it or not, Nifo's now caught up. That was, I thought, a pretty big gap, and I'm not trying to say I thought Nifo was slower. I know that Nifo's very quick. He did pretty well in qualifying P2, but P7, they've caught up a lot to Rulaton and Strut. So Rulaton and Strut, maybe they're fighting each other a little bit too hard. The dirty air is not ideal for Nifo right now as they make mistakes, unfortunately, and get themselves the first time penalty. Of course, Sidewinder does have it initially, but now Nifo has a time penalty. So Cisco right behind as well. They're in the DRS train. They are holding on as well. They had a really good chance earlier on. Of course, there was a bit of contact between, or maybe a bit of a moment on the safety car restart, the VSC restart. But we'll have to see how that goes in a bit. But those guys looking pretty close right now. We've got Quibus once again, who I assume now, after that moment just 2 laps ago, they're probably just going to try and back off a little bit, relax. We are on lap 7 out of 25, so we haven't got too long to go. But yeah, I think he's probably going to just try and wait to see what goes on here. Pit stop's going to be around about, I don't know, lap 12 to maybe 18. I can't quite remember if it's a long pit stop or not. Here we go. Quibus is actually going to try and challenge for the move. They're going to outbrake themselves and go off. I don't believe it. No way. Quibus looking for the chance of a win is now not going to have it. After all of that, they will emerge in P3, but they have Kaspersky for company behind instead of the DRS train. And once again, Zingy and Luke, they find themselves in the same position as they did in Mexico in a DRS train. That's if Zingy can hold on to the medium tyre runner of Luke at this stage. I think he well can because of that tyre advantage. But wow, what just happened? Kaspersky now into the DRS train, could gain a position here. We got Nipper who made 2 moves, both on Strat and Rulaton recently. Would have been nice to see. We could possibly see after the race. Of course, they do stream their own races themselves, so go and check them out if you can. But that is absolutely incredible. Mega changes on lap 8 out of 25 right now. We got a long way to go, but so much has happened already, and he's actually not got any ERS left, so he's going to be careful. He's trying to push away from Strut, and right now Strut's not going to get that DRS range. So Nibbo is playing this to perfection. He now will allow Rulaton to try and fight here with Strata, which will help him escape. And actually Cisco could possibly push for a move there. Gonna try and push for a move. Is it gonna look like a rewind moment? No, Rulaton has to go on the attack for Strata, of course, otherwise he might try and see Cisco go for him if he's not careful. That's Luke going into the pit lane already. As these guys battles, they will go past, and of course everybody seems to be here going long as much as they can, of course, in that DRS train. No way did that just happen. Cisco makes a mistake and goes into the back of Strauss. Strauss down the order in P7, gonna be furious with that one. I don't know what's just happened there. I don't know what's happened. I don't believe it. I think it's just a little bit hot at the moment. Everybody getting a little bit distracted in the battles, and Cisco's made that crucial mistake. Of course, everybody's close together. I wonder if maybe Stride tried to go a little bit early on the brakes, get a switch back on Rulaton. Cisco didn't expect that and has ended up making contact. I don't quite know, but hopefully Cisco hasn't got damage. They might well have done. If they don't on our screen, which I think they do, then it's going to be still there eventually. But yes, they do have damage, unfortunately. Not ideal at all. Nifo escaping the train, of course, are doing a great job. No ERS, but now Rulaton has no challengers behind. He is going to be able to focus on Nifo ahead, going off the track limits there a little bit. So a little bit cheeky. Doesn't gain them time, but they do have the DRS. No, they don't have... Yes, they do have the DRS on the back of Nifo, of course. Alrighty. Zingy leads the way right now, doing a great job of it so far. He's just got to go as long as he can on these hard tyres, of course. That was Luke going in on lap 9 of the race, so he didn't want to allow Zingy to get ahead of him. So he's just going to try and go for the major undercut, of course. You do have 2 sets of mediums, so you might go for a medium, soft. Very, very possible. We'll go and check in on him in a minute. That is Cisco having to take an early pit stop, of course, as well. Luckily, with the new update, you can switch up the strategy if you go for that balance strategy, of course, with that hard tyre as well. So, not the worst thing in the world. Not what you want, of course, but there's still a way that they can make this back. Strad gets themselves a time penalty. Unfortunately, Quibus 2 seconds behind Zingy at the moment. They're gaining on Kaspersky, so they don't have any problems behind. They just try their best. See if they can maybe have some outright pace. At the moment, Zingy, he has the advantage. He has track position over Quibus, 2-second gap. He can kind of focus, not get any time penalties at this stage of the race, which will be crucial as well as the tyres start to wear down just a little bit, of course. Nifo in P4 trying to make their way up the order as much as they can. Rulaton not able to get back into the DRS range after their mistake on the previous lap, around about the same place on the circuit, of course. So that's allowing Nifo to escape a little bit more. Watch the gap to see how it changes to Kaspersky, because that's actually Quibus making a bit of a mistake, and Kaspersky catches up and will get the DRS, which is going to allow him to pull away, and that's not what Nifo wants to see. Nifo wants to see them split up a little bit, which will allow him to overtake a little bit more, and then maybe get back into the train later on if possible. Is that Quibus going off circuit there? I'm not quite sure. I have to look on the replay, but Quibus at the moment just trying to focus on the car ahead and not be too worried about Kaspersky, who is just sitting in the train at the moment, both on the hard tyres as of now, of course. Looking at the strategy, if we will, and that is, of course, no, it is a hard tyre that Luke has gone for. So he's just gone for that aggressive start. The mediums really don't last that long at all, and then go straight onto that hard tyre to try and finish off the race, I guess. Maybe the stream undercut. Of course, he's got a big gap to the cars ahead. I don't know if he's had to make a move on sidewinder, quite possible. But other than that, he's got a fairly big gap. Now, if Stra and Quibus are working together here, they might try and communicate and make Stra try and slow down Luke, but a 5-second gap is quite a big difference to try and slow down for, although, of course, Luke is very, very quick, as we saw from qualifying, and he also is on a significantly better tyre. Bit of a mistake in turn 13, don't know who that was for, if it was for PJ or Cisco. It was one of the two, either way. But Quibus, once again, not able to get away from Kaspersky, although Kaspersky isn't actually in any position to make a move. And the gap is automatically balanced out once again, lap after lap, to Nifo and Kaspersky. Rulaton isn't catching to Nifo, so Nifo has some pretty good pace at the moment. They just need to make sure that they don't get caught out at turn 13. The DRS right now, it seems, for the entire grid is pretty much dead for absolutely everyone right now. Zingy leads the way by 2.3 seconds, just trying to control that gap. He doesn't need to risk it at this stage, of course. We've got a long way to go in this race. I say that half the way to go in this race, of course, as we are on board with Zingy now. Probably around about now is halfway. So he's done a good job to begin with. He now needs to wait for around about the last 10 to 8 laps, which isn't too far away, and he'll be able to get onto that medium tyre. So despite those changes with the tyre allegation, of course, we now are allowed to see the medium hard tyre strategy carry on and continue to work, or the hard medium, of course, is what we like to see most of the time. And it's usually the superior one, although Luke right now is looking for a undercut if possible. He has clean air galore. Zingy's competitor isn't really in a position to have a DRS train, and neither is Quibus, although Quibus might get a bit of a challenge here if they're not careful. As you see, Kaspersky going to try and size up a move as the pit stop phase is on its way, so might want to try and get ahead which could be very, very beneficial later on in the race, of course. Now, Nifo does catch up as these guys not battle, but have a little bit of a look instead of working together as such. So Kaspersky might shake a few feathers, or ruffle a few feathers, I should say. We'll have to wait and see how it goes in a couple of minutes, of course. Sidewinder into the pit lane onto a set of hards, and PJ also doing the same thing, interestingly. So, yeah, having to take an extra pit stop, it seems, at least for PJ. But Kaspersky's round! Kaspersky's round, pushing on the exit of turn 13, I assume, trying to make a move on Quibus, but it's ended up going horribly. Now that is Nifo getting promoted back to P3, clean air. Once again, they just need to try and catch up to Quibus. No DRS strain for Kaspersky. Luckily, it seems at least that he doesn't have any damage. So hopefully for him, he can try and get back into this, of course. Just try and focus, get the pace back up. But right now, that is not ideal. That's going to lose them some big points here. Rillaton going to be saved by that one. Of course, the battles that they had earlier on after the virtual safety car did slow them down a lot. And since then, they haven't been able to catch the pioneer of the race. Leads the way into the pit lane, as he is going to cause everybody to react onto that medium tire on lap 14 out of 25, and that's Nifo following their rival as well, which is interesting. I thought they might try something a little bit different maybe, but no, they know the gap's there. What's happening? Oh, okay, yeah, that was lucky. That was lucky. Just a bit of a lag. I thought they were stuck in the pit lane then. That was so close. They got to be so careful with that kind of stuff. Oh, very close to the track limits goes Nifo. He's got a 3 seconds. He knows that. He just needs to focus on himself. 1.4 seconds behind Luke. And yeah, I thought Luke would have got the undercut, but no. Nifo is really close to the back of Luke. So Luke maybe didn't really do as well as we thought he would. I will say he's not exactly catching up to Strauss. So does he have a problem? Do they have damage and they're just trying to go as long as they possibly can? We have Nifo behind on the soft, so it's not really going to be a fair comparison to see pace-wise. But do they have a problem? That is a big gap that they now have between Zingy and Strauss. So the undercut went completely the wrong way. That might have even been a maybe spin from Luke or a mistake, or I don't know. What happened? Cisco leaves the session while in P8, so not entirely sure what's happened there. But they don't have anybody around them at the moment. Not entirely sure. Recently pitted, or set of hards, of course, so is this guy, Sidewinder. And that's Quibus, who was leading for a couple of laps, so close to the wall on entry. Way too close for comfort. Now into the pit lane, going to have about 9 laps, 10 laps, 11 laps maybe on the medium tyre to finish off this race. Is Rillaton here going to try and extend it and go for a set of softs? Looks quite possible, as you see Nifo in the background going to go for a move on Luke, and Luke will not fight it at this stage. It's just about damage limitation for Luke, just trying to tactically let moves go because he doesn't want to lose any more time. Now Nifo, who has got a pretty nice undercut, of course that was around about 2.9 seconds, I'd say maybe, on Quibus. Now it's of course half a tenth, so they're going to get the DRS strain, and despite being on a lap older tyre, if they can stay within the DRS, that will give them an extreme advantage for later on in this race. Of course, they're in net P2 and 3 with Rillaton not making that pit stop yet. I could possibly think that Rillaton is going to attempt a soft tyre at the end of this race to try and mix things up a bit. Of course, they were racing with, it was Stra earlier on. Of course, now Stra's going to go for an undercut, so we'll have to see how that goes. But we've got these guys very close together now. Quibus could be in trouble from the back of Nifo. Nifo going to be right there. Are they going to try and go for a move into the final corner? So quick in the straight line, but no. They're going to let it go. They're going to try and go for a move onto the start finish straight. Close call there with the yellow flag. They are lucky to not get the negative effects of that one. Zingy goes for fastest lap, absolutely rapid at this stage of the race, focusing on themselves, but Niffo's even quicker, and he goes for the move on the inside. Is Quibus going to be able to fight back? I don't think they're even going to bother. Niffo's so quick at the moment. A switch back is possible here for the Haas, as they are going to challenge to the outside line at the turn 4. Are they really going to try and make it stick? It's not going to work, but they got the circuit, and they try and hold it. They try and hold it, and I don't believe it, but no, they're going to have to give up. Their camera angles were completely over the place. But we managed to just about see it. A mistake there for Niffo as they have to lift off the circuit. They go off the circuit just a little bit to the inside line. Gonna fake it and then re-fake it back to the inside. What a move. But no, they lose it a little bit too greedy on the throttle. What an effort. That would have been an amazing challenge if they could have got it done. But no, has to back off after that. But still, that was absolutely incredible there for Quibus. Niffo is ahead right now. Quibus doesn't really need to risk it, of course, with that time penalty that Niffo has. He can just sit in the DRS and see if they can maybe collectively try and catch up to Zingy, who is 7.5 seconds away. So they really do have to work together if they do want to try and challenge for the win here. Will they do that, or is Quibus going to try and get ahead? Looks like they're going to just try and get as close as they can. They might challenge here. They will challenge here as Niffo makes a mistake. Just going to stick their nose in to remind Niffo that they're right behind them. No ERS for the AlphaTauri. The Haas will go to the outside line and they will make that move. And Niffo cannot do anything about it. Had a quick look, but nothing too much to worry about right now. Ruleton not into the pit lane might actually lose the gap to Zingy if they're not careful. Of course, Zingy only 1.3 seconds behind now, who might get the advantage of the DRS in a little bit if they're not careful. Gonna have a quick look back at this battle right here. Will JJ have a look at the back of... oh, no, they won't. They actually got the DRS. Oh, no, they did get the DRS of PJ. PJ doesn't have the DRS. I thought they did then, but they don't. No ERS either, but it's not enough. JJ will not be able to catch. Niffo, of course, close to the back of Quibus. Quibus is actually pushing on the ERS. They've got a lot of ERS in that car, so they're really going to try and push it and see if they can escape. And of course, with the ERS, they will be able to escape, but will it be sustainable later on, or does Niffo have the upper hand on the race pace? Of course, Quibus had the upper hand on pole pace, but we'll have to wait and see. Zingy does have the DRS now of Ruleton, so that's going to allow him to catch a lot. Will Ruleton take this as a cue to make a pit stop, or are they going to stay out a little bit more? I think they're going to stay out a little bit more and try and make the soft tyre work, but that is Zingy going to go for the move. He will take the racing line a little bit late, but he will just about take it. Quibus goes for a fastest lap as he is pushing on that ERS for sure. 1.3 seconds is the gap that now splits Niffo and Quibus. Will Niffo be able to make that back? Now, Quibus is pushed out of that range. We'll have to wait and see if it changes around. This guy, I really don't understand what's going on here. The undercut should have been a lot more powerful, but it wasn't. So they must have made a mistake on the pit exit. And since then, it's pretty much screwed them. Of course, the medium tyre runners, they're going to get slower to the end of the race, but I don't think they're going to be slow enough to really say that Luke will be able to push that much more. I don't know. I guess maybe Luke pitted a little bit too early because he was on that medium tyre for only about 8 to 9 laps. So maybe needed to go to more of about the 12 lap mark. Unless he was pushing and tactically went into the pit lane to not allow Zingy to try and get a move on him. I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never know until we try and see a replay and investigate it afterwards. I say investigate, analyse, not really an investigation. JJ unfortunately makes a mistake that allows Sidewinder to be promoted up a position. Alrighty, Niffo, they are maintaining the gap at the moment. Ruleton into the pit lane. I assume going to go for that soft tyre, and they will go for the soft tyre, so they're going to charge for the fastest lap. I think if they don't have a go at a fastest lap, that would be quite crazy. They're going to lose a lot of time to the cars around them, of course. They're going to drop behind Casper Sky, but I think they'll stay ahead of Stroud, interestingly. No, they will jump Casper Sky after all that. How about that? They're going to manage to jump in. They will get to P5. They're going to be absolutely rapid. They're going to have to use the pace for as much as they possibly can. The tire's going to be a bit cold for the first few corners, but in a little bit, they're going to be absolutely crazy. They're going to run away with it. It's just for Ruleton at the moment. It's just about how far away can they run from Casper Sky before he starts to catch up, because that medium tire isn't going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It will be good to go even after the race is finished, I'd assume. Whereas Ruleton might have a couple issues. That's TJ getting a time penalty. It's a yellow for an Aston. I don't know if that is Cisco or Ega Pro. That is Cisco making a mistake, unfortunately. Getting a yellow sector up on the screen, but nothing to worry about at the moment. Casper Sky might be able to challenge. They might want to challenge, of course, and not allow Ruleton to push away. Let's see if they do give it a shot or not. We'll watch on board with Ruleton right now. Nifo trying their best to catch back up to Quibus, but right now it's looking pretty good for Zingy. Quibus not allowing to Nifo to get closer. They've kind of accepted the P2. They just need to try and make sure they secure it, of course, without the time penalty being too much of a risk. Casper Sky looking close, but Ruleton isn't dropping off yet. He's still got a long way to go until he drops off a couple laps to try and push away to see if he can escape the DRS range. Now, gaining immediately 0.3 back. It was about 1.1 seconds. Now to 1.4, maybe even 1.5 we're getting close to, goes Quibus. So Quibus has a lot of confidence in that first sector, whereas it seemed like Nefo was catching the final sector, maybe? I don't quite know, but Quibus managed to break away quite a bit there, really doing a pretty good job at the moment. Zingy now 6.9 seconds behind, so does lose a bit of time. Nothing that he needs to worry about, because 7 seconds is such a gap with only, well, I'm going to say 5 laps to go, because we're almost on the 5 laps to go of this race already. It's flown by, and at the moment, he doesn't need to worry. He could actually just lose a second a lap and not even worry about it, as long as he didn't get a time penalty, of course, because he'll be absolutely fine. Quibus, at the moment, he does have to push if he wants to try and challenge. He's got a really long way to go. He has to gain over a second, way over a second, to try and catch up to Zingy at the end of the race, let alone catch up, then have a chance at making a move. Nifo, he might be able to go for a move, of course, if he would want to, but I'm sensing maybe he's not pushing, not going to try and go for the move on Quibus, because he doesn't need to, of course. The time penalty range is there. I guess the advantage that he would have is if he could get ahead, maybe hope that Quibus has a time penalty. That could be an idea. In that case, he'd need to try and stay within a 2-second time penalty range at minimum to try and stay right behind. Other than that, I guess Nifo probably doesn't really need to do much at the moment. I think he's just in a very good position at the moment to try and get some sort of time penalty. These guys right here are going to be the ones to focus on for the final few laps, because they are, of course, the closest together at the moment. Ruleton is catching a lot to Luke. These two are going to try their best to try and make a move on the hard tyre runner. Luke's going to have to try their best to fight this, so he's going to have a bit of work to do. Ruleton's going to be pushing. They do actually have well, not a flashing light. I'd have thought they would have had a flashing light to try and push for fastest lap, but they don't. So they have, I assume, a fair bit of energy in the car to be able to push with, and they should have an idea of how to get past Luke. That would allow them to, of course, split away from Casper Sky and prevent Casper Sky from thinking anything of making a move. So we'll have to see. Ruleton can make this move, but they've got to make it tactically. If Casper Sky wants to try and prevent him from getting it, he's going to have to make a move right here. Will he try and go for a move right here? Not close enough to do it, so he's going to have to back off and wait another time. But they've got to be careful on these time penalties, of course. Final stages of the race, the margins are fine, but they've got to play it to perfection. Otherwise, they're going to be so in trouble with the margins that these guys have, of course, so close together. Quibus is catching up to Zingy. Zingy doesn't need to worry at the moment, and he's actually pulling away from Nifo, so Quibus is the fastest man on track. Out of the top 3, of course, absolutely rapid right now. Rulaton, I'd say, was the fastest man with the soft tyre, or whatever gender you wish to be. I'm just saying that out of knowledge at the moment. But it is what it is. Rulaton going to have a possible look at a move on this lap. But no, they get themselves a time penalty. No, no way. Oh, what a shame. That's going to cause them some big problems. And at the moment, will they try and make a move on Luke and try and maybe pull away on the final few laps and maybe even cause some problems with Casper Sky? It's probably their best bet, or are they just going to try and hold a position at the moment? That's not what we want to see. Going to look at a great battle here, but now it's immediately changed. He still has a chance, and it's not worth giving up until the line, of course, because anything could happen here. Anything could happen. Luke absolutely mental in the straight line, not allowing Rulaton to catch up. So he's making sure that he holds on to this position for as long as he can. And actually, if he does hold on for a little bit longer, it might not actually be possible for Rulaton to make a move, of course, because those soft tyres will die off within the next 2 laps. It really depends on how well he saves those tyres. Maybe even going to be able to get an extra lap or 2 out of them if he is good at saving the tyres. But usually, you only see the tyres be able to go 5 laps, but cutting over the corner. Really struggling with the understeer of the dirty air as well now. Maybe that's what caused them to get the time penalty originally. So close to the back of Luke as Luke goes for a wider high line, as that is Rulaton trying to go for the deeper line, putting the pressure on the Williams, and they will surely have a go at a move here. Within the next 2 DRS straights, I would say. Probably not this one. It's probably not the best one to go for a move at. You would wait to the next one, of course. They're going to catch, but they're allowed to lift. They're allowed to do that. They just need to wait behind, make sure they don't get any time penalties by riding curbs like that. And they will have a go, but that is unfortunately the Aston Martin making more mistakes and going to be lapped by these guys. Rulaton will have a go to the inside. Casper Sky sits there behind and waits at the moment. They're going to get DRS here. They're going to get a good run on Luke as well, as they have a very, very nice line. Casper Sky here could get 2 moves. Rulaton will not have the DRS. Will they be able to challenge right here? Is it going to be possible? No. Luke goes to the outside line. Rulaton defends to the inside. Still not over yet. A switchback is possible on those medium tyres. Yes, it is, as he makes a mistake on the traction. The hard's just gone up to the task, and he is ahead. Casper Sky immediately gets through, and that's not what Rulaton wanted after all of that. Rulaton wanted Luke to be able to fight a little bit more, and he was so close to doing it, but unfortunately losing it on the rear. Those hards are just so difficult to get the traction on compared to the medium tyre, of course. Eager Pro retiring prematurely, not going to be in the points at this stage of the race. Nifo in P3 at the moment. 1.8 seconds is the gap, and they're trying their best to stay with Quibus at the moment, hoping that they might get like 2 6-second time penalty, or 2 3 seconds for a 6-second. But at the moment, it's just so difficult. Zingy does have that time penalty. Quibus, the top 3, the only one without of a time penalty. So doing a really good job on that, and they are catching up, of course. They've caught up quite a bit within the last few laps, but it's nowhere near enough, because Zingy, I don't know what happened, but he had an absolutely masterclass strategy. We saw him have a couple of issues on the strategy back in Singapore, and a couple of other races as well, where people followed him and it wasn't the idea, but he has just restored every faith in the entire community. He's had an absolute masterclass at the moment. Of course, he's managed to stay out of trouble, which has allowed him to get so far ahead. Of course, Rulaton as well. He got a bit of DRS, but he still had to make it work. The pressure as well, but he's done an amazing job. We're going to go back with the other guys for a little bit to see if anything will change. Will Casper Sky try and deploy everything on the final lap? We know Rulaton's very good in the straight line. We saw that back in Hungary. But Casper Sky might have a look here, gets a good run, but it's not enough for a move right now. He's just going to have to sit there and wait. And actually, Luke lost the DRS range already. I don't believe it. So actually, Ruleton's made a very good call here by making that move, because they will be able to pull away and possibly get a move. They've got to be careful how they fight Sky, of course, to make sure that they do secure a P5 over Luke. It is what it is. We'll have to look in a minute. I don't know if there's going to be a move. We're going to quickly watch and see what happens as well. Ruleton makes a mistake, makes a big mistake, and a switchback is available. Sky is going to get the move in the end, and Ruleton will not be able to challenge. Zingy wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Quibus in P2. Nifo makes it a third place in the end after a great recovery. And we got Sky, who will make the move in the end. What a legend. P4 in the end. Ruleton will secure a P5 after that. Wow, that's pretty impressive on the time penalties. Luke, what a sad day, unfortunately, for him. Looking with so much promise, but unfortunately, it was only a P6 with that strategy that didn't quite work out. Strat P7. We got Cisco, who's going to try their best, but that is PJ right behind, who's going to try and make the move around the outside. Is it going to be possible? Are they going to have a drag race to the line? Who's going to get it? I think it's going to be Cisco, and it will be Cisco in the end. What a good effort there between those guys. Sidewinder back to League Racing, will get a point on return, and JJ, of course, in P11. Zingy has won the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix even more in a row now. That is absolutely epic. Zingy going to try and break the record if they can. Will they be able to break the record for the most consecutive wins in LSI? And that is, of course, 8 wins in LSI F1 history. He's currently on 6, if I am correct. 6 wins in a row at the moment. And, of course, that does count the sprint race, because it does class as a win. Alrighty, that is the race over, and that is Zingy taking another win, extending his championship lead yet again. I do apologise if you watch League Racing to try and escape the Mercedes domination, but you will not find anything different here. Zingy continues to have that top spot. There he is on the podium once again. So many trophies, he's got no room for them anymore. What a legend. Looking to try and be maybe the most successful driver on the grid statistically as well. It's going to be very, very possible. Zingy takes the win for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We've got Quibus in P2 and a Nifo in P3. Then we have Sky, Ruleton, Luke Stra, Cisco in P8, PJ Sidewinder, JJ finishing off the order, and of course Egapro retiring earlier on, but they are classed as finished. And that is the grid, of course. Then we'll skim through the rest of the race director just in case we need to later on. Might be something that we have to look into, of course, with the track limits around this circuit. But other than that, we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome back to LSI F1 Championships. We're back today with a post-race interviews of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. That was a bit of a mess, but we start the interviews with Casper Sky. Casper, that was a nice, exciting ending you had there, of course. Ruleton did have that time penalty, so it did make it a little bit easier for you, but you managed to get the move in the end, and that is a lovely P4. Are you happy with that one?
Yes, absolutely. I had a lot of pace in Jeddah. Despite not practicing a lot, but yeah, it was a pretty good race. And yeah, the thing that I managed to stay with those softs of Rolaton, even though he had some damage, I think, it was just beautiful.
Yeah. That was good. I thought it was going to be able to pull away a couple seconds and you'd be able to bring it back, but no, you managed to stay there, so really well done. Brazil is the next circuit. Do you like Brazil? Are you good at that circuit? Do you prefer it over Saudi Arabia?
Actually, I don't know. After this race, Jeddah and Brazil might be on level. But yeah, I've always liked racing in Interlagos, so yeah, let's hope for a good result there too.
Yeah, awesome. It's a sprint race as well, so you'll be able to use some race pace to try and get up the order after qualifying, so that's always a plus. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Great, eventful, I think, and fast.
Thank you very much. Well done today. Great job, and we'll see you next time. Well done.
Thank you.
We move on to Nifo. Nifo, P2 in quali. It was gonna look pretty promising at the start there. Of course, there was a bit of an issue at turn 13. I'll let you explain that one. Manages to get back to a P3 in the end. Are you happy with that one or a bit disappointed?
I mean, for the first time, I think in this league I had a normal qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could have gone pole, but I messed up a few corners. But I was still happy with P2. But every time, like I had a good start, just P1, just driving away. I was out of the DRS, I think, except for Luke, but he was on the medium, so that was logical. Yeah, just every time there's a safety car early on, I just always, I just lose focus, and then those stupid things happen, just destroying my race. Then during the pit stops, locked up the wheels, like hit my front wing a little bit, and then I had to drive with damage the whole race on the medium stint.
Oh, really?
So I had no chance of catching up Quibus as well. So yeah, I was just, I don't know. Every week's the same, I guess. Just good and then bad.
Fair enough then. I didn't realise you had damage on that medium stint. You did a very good job then, so well done. Safety cars then, I guess, is the next thing to try and focus on for the future and keeping the focus up. Because other than that, of course, with the first stint, the start phase of the race, you had a significant pace. It was looking really good. So once again, the potential's there. You can see it's there. It's just about trying to maintain it. The next one, Brazil. Do you prefer it over Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, but I preferred it a lot more, but I won't have nearly as much practice. Like I'll usually have like 1 or 2 days, and then I'll have a few hours on Brazil, so it will not be a good race for me. But yeah, doesn't matter when you spin anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see when we come there.
Sprint race will still be there, of course, to get you some kind of race practice in a way. Obviously, you want to try and be prepared for the sprint race, but still, it will help you, of course, for the feature race where the big points are. You can still do a very good job, and the potential's there. You know where the problems are, so really well done. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Bottling once again.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today. Great effort.
Thank you.
We move on to PJ. PJ, do you think you need the Alpine?
Yes.
Do you think you need the Alpine?
Yes, no. Yeah, the wheelie was also good today. But yeah, just had a poor start, had some contract, light front wing damage, and after the virtual safety car restart, Rillaton and Cisco had the coming together and in front of me, and I couldn't avoid them, and my front wing was gone.
Right.
So I had to do an extra stop.
Okay.
And yeah, from then on it was always pushing for P8 with Cisco, but in the end it was 1/10 that was between me and him.
Yeah, I caught that on the line then. I wasn't sure what the time penalties were, if you were equal on the penalties then.
Yeah, we were equal on 3 seconds.
Still a great effort in the end then, and so close, nice and exciting. I know it's not the way you wanted it to go, but still, nice to be in the battle at the end there. Brazil, do you prefer the circuit over Saudi Arabia? I'm kind of thinking you probably say no.
You're right. No, I hate the circuit. It's absolutely loathsome and loathful. And I googled these words. No, I absolutely hate it because it's so slow, and I hate slow corners. So I don't expect too much.
Yeah, I mean, still, you can still have a good race, and the last two races, the pace is definitely improved, I would say, from what I've seen at least.
Yeah,
so I
agree.
think you're on the up, and you just need to try and carry the momentum. So well done today. One last question: how would you describe your race in 3 words?
In front of me. No, that's 4.
We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. Well done today.
Goodbye.
And we move on to Rillaton. Rillaton, that was a little bit tough, of course. I didn't get to see what happened after the virtual safety car. If you take that away, do you think you'd have been able to challenge for a podium if the virtual safety car didn't happen? And also, can you talk us through what happened?
So firstly, I got pretty good start. I got what's it called? Challenged by Siggy, who tapped me a bit, but that was just unfortunate, like lap 1 incident. So I lost some places there, and on to I think lap 3, I might have unfortunately tapped Cisco, kind of a bit worse than what Siggy did. So, and from that I had some damage, and then it was just like going around the circuit for 25 laps. Basically nothing happened. I wanted with the strategy to see if there was going to be a safety car in the end, so I stayed out long, but fortunately there wasn't. But I'm happy with the P5 from that.
Did you repair your wing in the pit stops, or did you just deal with it?
No, I didn't. I dealt with it and just went on. So my pace wasn't on top, but yeah.
Fair enough. Not the most ideal race, but you still got a decent amount of points. You managed to get ahead of Luke with the time penalties in the end, so there's a plus there, of course. The strategy, it was worth a shot as well. But you know, the bad races will make the good races sweeter. So Brazil, do you think this can be better than Saudi?
I think, but I also think I won't be home for next week. We'll see though, but yeah.
Okay, the race after that then, Abu Dhabi, do you think you can do well there?
I've like literally not done Abu Dhabi on this game. I think maybe sometimes like open lobbies, but
I'll tell you what, Abu Dhabi's a great track. I'm sure you can do well there.
Thank you.
One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Not super satisfying.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we go on to the final interview. Big Hero 6 over here. Done 6 in a row now. Well done. Looking for the stats. I know most drivers say they don't race for the stats. Are you maybe different? Are you not that guy, pal? You like the stats, or I don't know.
I like how it reassures it. Shut up, Roton. It reassures me that I am good in a way. It shows everyone that I have achieved something that some people maybe can't.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, first of all, really good job today. can you take us through what happened? Of course, you were in the battles at the start. It didn't look too good.
Oh yeah, it wasn't looking good, but I just kept my cool. I had a little bit of contact with Rotorn, but you know that happens sometimes. And then Niffle decided to turn into a helicopter halfway during the second lap.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what happened. I know he spun, but everyone lost time. And then I used my straight line speed to my advantage. Got into the lead after Luke pitted very early for his hards. And then from there, I really just controlled the race, used my ERS wisely, and just kept the gap consistently at 6-7 seconds. And that's all I needed to do, and that's how I won.
Yeah. I mean, nothing really more to say. It was a really good job, of course. In the end, massive gap, so well done. Brazil, do you prefer the circuit over Saudi Arabia even after the race today?
I really like both circuits. In hindsight, it's you need to look at a track and drive it to understand how it is, and I think Brazil will be good. I mean, Brazil's always a good race in F1 and in real life also. So, I think not only for myself but for people watching and all the drivers, I think it'll be a very entertaining race. That's for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. One last question: how would you describe your race in 3 words?
I'm Jose Mourinho.
Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Well done today. And that's been it. Yeah, that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you next time for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and we'll see you tomorrow, of course, for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for the F1.5 Championships. Other than that, good night. See you soon. Bye bye.